amassing over $42,000 thus far, with still a lot of time to go. So thank you so very much to everyone who has stepped up and started the day off so successfully as we trek forward, trying to break records once again this year on the Delt Day of Giving 2022. My next guest now in the 11 o'clock hour is none other than Steve Vedra, a familiar face as the president of the Delt Foundation. Steve, thank you so much for joining us.
Happy to be here, and really excited to have you back at Fishers, Indiana with us and being our MC again for this today. So thanks for joining us as well.
Absolutely. Hard to believe it's already been a year, but it's fun to be back here. So we're going to talk a little bit about sort of loosely a state of the foundation, where things kind of stand, and also looking forward to some exciting things on the peripheral with Carnia and even maybe beyond. But first, as we focus on today, we talk about the Delt Day of Giving. Why are days so important to nonprofit organizations, and why is it so important specifically to the Delt Foundation?
Yeah, I mean, I think, Vince, that really the opportunity of Day of Giving is that for many organizations that people support, whether that be their alma mater or local organizations, they get to see those businesses and those organizations on a regular basis. And so we don't have those things like basketball games and football games and speaker series that sometimes allow us to bring people back. And so Day of Giving really allows, a national organization that has 130 different chapters, 120,000 alumni to come together and kind of have it to be a great day to be a Delt, to kind of remind people about what we're doing. But I've also been receiving emails and phone calls today from people who are saying they're really enjoying tuning in to hearing. And there's so many things that this fraternity is working on today that's far more than just leadership and sustaining chapters. It's working on things like health and wellness, and working on confidence building and community building. And so it's a great opportunity for us to really share all the good work that the fraternity is doing, but also what the young men at the undergraduate level are doing. So we just would never want to miss that ability to share the positive things that are going on within Delta Delta.
I'll echo that. The amount of people that have reached out, that they kind of circle the date on the calendar, right, is a day where I know I'm going to be able to reconnect and learn a lot. And it's become this immersive experience, I think, for a lot of people. And so that's very well put. So when it comes to the state of the foundation, what are some things that you're really looking forward to here in 2022 and perhaps even beyond?
Yeah, I mean, I think that especially as part of this day, we have had so many chapters that have come forward and say, we want to start a chapter education fund. So this is a program, a benefit that we started back in the mid-90s that although people understand the value of supporting the national organization, they say, I have this affinity for my local chapter. How do I make sure that we're keeping those guys in school and those guys going to Carnias? So we've launched a number of those, as part of this Day of Giving. Ones that come to mind are Delta Iota and Zeta Chi, Iota, John Carroll. So a number of those across the country. In addition to that, we've had some unique ones that have kind of popped up. You heard, we talked earlier about the Paul Falkenbach Fund. That was one that was started last fall. Paul was a former chapter president, House Corporation president at Beta Phi. Unfortunately, he was diagnosed with lung cancer and it was terminal. But his chapter brothers have collectively come together and raised over $350,000 in honor and in memory of Paul, with the the express purpose of getting more guys to PresX and chapter leadership programming, to have great speakers at Carnia coming up, and to train alumni, all things that were extremely important to Paul. Additionally, I would say that we have a major announcement that we'd like to share with you today. Some kind of good opportunities that have come out of maybe some ones that have been a little bit more somber and tragic, and that the Eastern Illinois chapter, Zeta Rho, which has been closed a number of years now, they created a scholarship in memory a number of years ago in memory of one of their chapter brothers, Todd Watson, who they went through the chapter with and unfortunately passed away far too young. And they have built scholarship up over time. And they are bringing that into the larger Delt Foundation in addition to some other funds. So with that, we have $175,000 coming in from the Todd Watson scholarship, and then additional gifts that are coming in from the Zeta Rho chapter. And so those will be held within the Delt National Foundation until that chapter comes back those dollars will be restricted to continuing the Todd Watson Scholarship, but also to providing fellowships to those in the Northern Division to national programs. And so when you're looking at a gift of that size, that is transformational for many young men across the Northern Division. So thanks to Rob Cray and his team at Zeta Rho. So a lot of positive things going on that are really going to impact the national organization and the local chapters in terms of what they're doing.
That's excellent. Excellent news. And I think, we both understand that while the national initiatives and national scope of the foundation being super important, but we're only as strong as the chapters on our campuses. So it's nice that there's a number of alumni that get sort of the juxtaposition of supporting both nationally and locally, and how they do really funnel together and create a holistic approach to philanthropy and success stories.
Absolutely.
So you talked a little bit about Carnia, always a lot of excitement, always a time where there's a lot of announcements and new things. From a foundation standpoint, we heard Alex Kennedy talk a little earlier about some programmatic things. Tell us on the foundation side, what are some expectations or some exciting things coming up with the 2022 Carnia in Norfolk?
Yeah, I mean, on the foundation side, we're extremely lucky and looking forward to this. Over the last 2 years, certainly things have been challenging in the fraternity world, but we've been fortunate enough that our alumni have come forward. We are in the silent phase of our largest capital campaign ever, and so we will be going public with that in Norfolk, and so kind of unrolling the new programs, initiatives that we're going to be supporting on the Delt Foundation. Just to give a quick sneak preview of that, anybody who's been around the fraternity for the last couple of years have realized that our focus continues to be on supporting young men, and that in some cases young men have fallen behind. They're not going to college at the rate they used to. They're not graduating at the rate that they used to. Challenges with mental health. And so we really believe that the fraternity is uniquely designed to kind of help move that needle for at least the 9,000 undergraduates who choose to put on the Delt badge. And so what that program looks like, or what that initiative looks like, is national programs with local impact. So what are those things that we can be doing at the national level that supports every chapter that even the best chapters can't do? And that includes training chapter presidents, training membership educators, recruitment chairmen, so that we make sure that year in, year out nationally, we can get the best guys every year, can train them, can lead them well. We're developing programs that have ongoing programs to train chapter volunteers to be mentors and coaches, not just chapter advisors. And then you put in all these kind of supplemental things that we're working on in terms of mental health and wellness and inclusion and things like that that are just so important to developing and sustaining, the Delt chapter as a learning laboratory for young men. And so we're excited that in the first week of Norfolk, we're going to share where we're at. I will tell you that we are on target to hit our Go Public goal. And so certainly Day of Giving, all gifts through Day of Giving are going to be counted towards totals for that campaign. So we're excited to forge the future and be partners with the fraternity in all the wonderful things that they're doing. Excellent.
Incredibly exciting news as we rapidly approach the 2022 Carney. And Steve, whatever you said must have really worked. We've raised $15,000 in the time we've been on air. So thank you to everyone who continues to give so generously. We're approaching $60,000 raised, and we'll continue the momentum and continue the exclusive and exciting content of Kelly Fox later today. Again, our coordinator of wellness and well-being. She had to reschedule for later in the day, but we'll still get a chance to talk to her. We'll talk to Doug Russell, the VP of membership, and a few others along the way. But Steve, thank you once again so much for joining us here on the One Day, One Delt Day of Giving.
Great. Thanks, Vince. Happy to be part of it.